Aloha and welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure, coming to you from Waikiki Beach, right next to St. Augustine's Catholic Church. We're on the 25th floor, so from our home we can see Molokai, which is about 40 miles away in the distance. And we're right above where the Eucharist is. We're right on the beach here in Waikiki. So suffering for Jesus in paradise. It can be tough here. Sometimes there's just too many rainbows. We have a wonderful guest with us today, Carolyn McKinney. We'll be right back to talk with her. This is the Bear Woznick Adventure.
Welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Kickstart that engine and roll thunder with the pack. Explore the grittiness of manly spirituality. Gain traction in the virtues. Soup up your spiritual engine by turning adversity into adventure. Now here's Bear Woznick. Let's ride.
Aloha, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. We call it the Bear Woznick Adventure because this is the adventure I get to go on, but everybody has an adventure. We know that God said, I know what I have in store for you. Plans for peace, not destruction, a future reserved for you, full of hope. He has a plan and a purpose for us. He's given us certain gifts and limitations and desires. And I just found as people stay within those navigational waypoints, those navigational beacons of the strengths that God's given us and the skills that He has in us that we can develop, and we're aware of our limitations and embrace those too. That as we follow that kind of desire, not passion, that's different, that's a drivenness, but kind of a desire that we're drawn towards, then we're moving into God's will, and God can really use us. And we're going to have a special guest today, Carolyn McKinney. We'll introduce her in a few moments. Actually, we're going to talk story a little bit about Charlie Kirk. There's a saying in Hawaii. It's a one word, emua, I-M-U-A, emua. It means strength moving forward. When we had the great fire in Lahaina, where my dad used to be a Catholic deacon, everything in that town burned down. It's a beautiful, precious town too, an old whaling village, and everything except for the Catholic Church, every building, the parsonage burned down, as well as the school. But where the Eucharist was present, it didn't burn down. And people said, "Well, that church is a symbol of hope," and the reality is, no, it's not. It is Him. It's Jesus who is hope. So there is that saying, though, that we had during the time when we were sailing over to Maui to bring them provisions and then bringing people back on the boats to come to Oahu to stay in our hotels. We had a T-shirt, a black T-shirt that said "Emua Maui," strength moving forward, Maui. That's what we need today. There is a saying, step into the breach. We need to go beyond stepping into the breach. We need to take back the ground we've lost. We need to take new ground. We need strength moving forward. We need emua. And I know God's calling us to that. God goes out in front of us. Do you remember in the days of Israel marching through the wilderness, you know who would go out first? Their choir. Because the very first thing we have as Christian warriors is joy in the Lord and praise for God, and knowing that God is leading us. And with God, all things are possible. So we have such a warrior with us today. Her name is Carolyn McKinney. And I instantly jumped on the invitation to talk with Carolyn about a couple of the articles she wrote. I believe it's the website is the Catholic Exchange, regarding Charlie Kirk. So Carolyn, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure.
Hi, Bear. Nice to be here.
Yeah, we know Carolyn, but we just met Carolyn, but we love her husband, Charlie McKinney. He's one in a million. He's just one in a million. He's down to earth. He's transparent. He's integritous. He's just a good man. And you know, Carolyn, I'll tell you, many years ago when I had basically not really a vision, but a vision, I would say, it was real clear in my mind, a moment when God spoke to me about this ministry, this mission. There was a lot to it, but one of the things He told me is that my target audience should be the man in the black pickup truck. And I know Charlie.
That's my husband.
Yeah, I was talking with him the other day, and he said, "I'm in my truck," and I go, "Well, what color is it?" And he goes, "Black."
Yep.
It's not that we're not reaching everybody. It's just that we know if that what we're saying is gritty enough to get to the guy in the black pickup truck, everyone will relate to it, especially women. Women are already there. So so we love Charlie. So right now he and I are struggling on the title for my next book, where he's saying this and I'm saying that. We're going back and forth on it. But Sophia Press will be publishing my next book. But Carolyn, tell us before we talk about Charlie. We want to know about you. Tell us about your walk, your faith journey.
Yeah, well, I'm a Catholic wife, mother, and business owner. And my faith journey. Well, when I was born on the south side of Chicago to two Protestant parents, they probably never dreamed that their daughter would be a traditionalist Catholic. So,
Wow.
yeah, Charlie and I had quite the journey together. Although it's funny because I always had certain, let's say, proclivities towards a more traditional worship experience. In fact, when I was getting to be college age and I was coming into my own, in terms of my desires and my worship and my faith life, my father was kind of hitting kind of a midlife crisis and he was running in the opposite direction. He was, going to assemblies of God and laying hands and the whole nine yards
But he was
and he
seeking God. He was seeking God. He was wanting to go
yeah.
deeper. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Although at that point in time, the stark differences between our worship proclivities were very obvious, and he used to
Yeah.
call me, he termed my type of proclivities as the frozen chosen, and
You did,
I was a Calvinist at the time, so that
oh
makes more
my
sense.
God. So you went from Calvinist to, well, and the thing about the Assembly of God Church, it's so interesting because I have a friend who's a priest who was an Assembly of God evangelist when he was like 19 or 20 or 22. He was just super powerful evangelist going to Assembly of God seminary. And the point was, and we love our brothers and sisters there, but the point was that they wanted to worship the way the early church worshiped. And of course, praying in the Spirit and things like that, which the Catholic Church has always, embraced. We don't turn our back on that. But at any rate, it was the desire to worship the way the early church worshipped. So his pastor said, "Let's have a summer thing where you do a study on the early church," and he began to read the early church fathers, and you read the writings of the primitive church, and you go, "Oh, the primitive church was a Catholic church." And you go,
Ultimately, that's why we're Catholic, actually.
yeah. Well,
So,
I jumped into your story, but
no, it's fine.
it's ironic because the Assembly of God Church wants to be that, but the Catholic Church is that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And well, so I went to Calvin College for college. I went to live in DC after college, and that's where I met Charlie, who was also working in DC.
Mm.
And we were married in a couple of years and pregnant right away. And so we ended up moving out of DC at that point. But when our first arrived, we had a disagreement because he was a Southern Baptist and I was a Calvinist. And we had been settling on a Bible church, right? Lowest common denominator Christianity. And I was very insistent that we baptize our child because like I knew the teaching of I was a theology minor at Calvin and there was a significant study on the early church. We kind of skip everything from Nicaea to the Reformation, but
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I
I was
knew some
wondering
of the
about
early
that.
church
I was wondering
councils.
about what happened in there.
Yeah,
Oh, nothing to see here.
nothing of consequence. No, no, nothing.
But
So,
what to explain what Calvinism is for people who don't the basic of it because it's
yeah,
pretty gnarly,
well,
pretty gnarly.
TULIP is the basic. They believe in, oh, it's been a while, so let me see if I can recall it. Total depravity, unconditional election, limited grace, no, limited atonement, irresistible grace, and perseverance of the saints, I think is what
Well,
it is.
let me ask you about this. So depravity and isn't it so with Calvinism also that you're either chosen to be in the kingdom or you're not? Can you?
Yes,
Those are two
that,
gnarly things. So total depravity and that. Can you
Yes.
tell us about, and can you do it in 1 minute, or should we come back and have you explain it to us more
Yeah,
deeply?
no, I think basically total depravity is like, it's similar to concupiscence that we believe as Catholics,
Yeah.
but
Original
more
sin.
extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there's original sin, but like for us, the baptism gives us grace, and we're not so we have grace, and the Calvinists believe we are so totally warped by our sin that like nothing can ever touch, make it improve this basically. And then yes, they have where they believe that there are elect and unelect, and only the elect will go to heaven, the unelect are damned.
Yeah, well, it's
And
not your choice. God chose it all. You've
no,
already,
no, and
cards are dealt.
it has nothing to do with your response. And they would say that like we need to be good Christians, but that it really, has no bearing on your salvation at all, right? Like it's that God picks you up and takes you into heaven. It's not God opening the path for you to get to heaven, right?
What a sad commentary. So we got to take a break though. But that's
Mhm.
so sad. We're talking with Carolyn McKinney, and we're going to talk a little bit as we go on about Charlie McKinney, some special thoughts she has. Where can they find you, Carolyn?
Yeah, I wrote these articles for CatholicExchange.com and CrisisMagazine.com, two excellent media outlets run by Sophia Institute Press.
And we love them. We love everybody there. I mean, everybody at Sophia, whether it's the shipping department or the editorial department or the PR department, or well, it's just great people. Someday, my wife and I are going to show up there at your doorstep and just check it all out.
You'll get a tour if you show up.
This is the Bear Woznick. We'll be right back with more. Schoolofmanliness.com is a place for men of grit and grace to join together to inspire, to encourage, and to challenge each other to grow in manly virtue. Members receive morning man meditations, a monthly curriculum that is rich with audio, video, and written content, and a trail guide to help you map out your new trajectory. Many of our members lead their sons through this same curriculum. Your membership gives you access to both the Man Cave, which is our non-Facebook type community, and the School of Manliness at schoolofmanliness.com. Become a member at schoolofmanliness.com. Deep Adventure Ministries is grateful to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting the Bear Woznick adventure on EWTN. Notre Dame Federal Credit Union provides car loans, mortgages, SBA loans, and depository accounts nationwide, as well as 24-hour support. Go to deepadventure.com to find their link, or go to NotreDameFCU.com. Mahalo to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for making the Bear Woznick adventure possible. My newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone?, has hit the top 5 in Christian books for a good reason. It's because men are searching for traction and a trail guide to live out the unique calling and the gifts that they were born with, that each man individually is factory loaded with by God. Paul said, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, do all things in love." Finally, here is a book that talks with men the way men talk with each other. Just plain old straight shooting. By the way, Mama Bears, this is your chance to get this message to your men. Go to schoolofmanliness.com or anywhere books are sold. 12 Rules for Manliness. Where have all the cowboys gone?
This is a warning. The Bear Woznick adventure is dangerous. The radical change Bear challenges you to is not for wimps. Change this station now to a soft rock station before it's too late. You've been warned. Now, here is Bear Woznick.
Aloha, welcome to the Bear Woznick adventure. We want to invite everybody, if you're ever coming into Waikiki, go to our website, schoolofmanliness.com, and say, hey, you want to meet for morning mass and maybe a cup of coffee or breakfast afterwards? It's amazing how many people the tide just kind of throws up on the beach. And we have so many great conversations several times a month. We have several maybe it's just a half hour, an hour. And sometimes we meet for coffee and we go, oh, we know what you want to do. You want to go, we know this person that can take you surfing, that person that can take you on tour. But it's just a great time. And we love it, especially when it's the baby parade and the children are there. It's just so cool. So, but we'd like to invite you guys to go to schoolofmanliness.com and join our school. It's you can become part of the Man Cave, which is it's kind of like it's a non-Facebook community for men. Only adult men, like 18 and older, can participate in it. But we share our griefs, our you hold my beer moments too, and our challenges, and we encourage each other. And every Saturday morning, people who subscribe to our newsletter get the radio show and stuff. But if you join the Man Cave, then every Saturday morning you get a curriculum that you can do for that week in the school. That might be a video or an audio or written content or self-assessments. But you get that every Saturday morning, and you can lead your sons through it. Your sons can be part of the school. They can't join the Man Cave, but they can have their own login, and you can track them as they work their way through the school. It's about 2 or 3 years of curriculum right now. And also every morning you get about 1 or 2 sentences from the catechism as we go through the entire catechism every morning. And so we invite you to go to schoolofmanliness.com, become part of the other knuckle draggers there in our school. We have with us today Carolyn McKinney. You were sharing with her. So Calvinism is like, we know that we're made out of mud, but it's almost like Calvinism thinks we're made out of something a lot worse than that.
Yeah, it's true.
And then there's like, and too bad for you if you're not chosen. And then what about Charlie? Where was he? His faith was more Southern Baptist. Which, by the way, I went to Baylor. It's the Notre Dame of Southern Baptist. So many beautiful Christians there. Just a little bit not. They're kind of missing out on a lot. But I mean, beautiful love for Scripture and beautiful love for Jesus and for So then, where was your clashing? Where did the
the clash came in when it came time to baptize our first child. And, I knew enough of early Christian theology and thought and, early church councils to say, no, the early church baptized babies. Like this adult baptism thing that you Baptists have going on is not the way that it was meant to be,
Yeah.
And so I set out to convince him of my opinion. And I did a very excellent job. And he came around to my opinion and continued reading the church fathers, and we're Catholic.
Really?
Yes.
He did. And
Yeah.
you as you were doing this, you got more and more deeply into the church fathers. So you went from Calvinism to in school you were exposed to the church fathers, and the more if you read the church fathers, you're going to be Catholic. There's really just stay away from. See all those books behind me, the early church fathers books and the commentaries.
I see the Ante-Nicene Creed or the Ante-Nicene Fathers, and that's
You
the
like 'em.
those are the books. Those are the
those
books
very
that make
books.
Catholic.
Those are dangerous. Don't
They are.
ever read the early church fathers. Don't ever do that. Those are dangerous books because you just can't deny it. It's so chewy and deep. It's really, really, really great writing too. Great. Those people were kind of smart.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, Augustine.
It's almost like it stood the test of time for a reason.
Yeah, I guess Augustine's all right. Okay, so then you guys, how did you enter into the church?
Yeah, it took us a while. Like it probably took us, well, it was about 3 years of discernment. And then when we finally decided we were moving and we didn't really get settled for a little while, and then they made us go through RCIA, even though we knew more than the people who were
I
teaching
know, but that's the coming alongside people. That's so important. I had someone join the Man Cave the other day and goes, I'm just going to do my own study, and I know more about it than them. I'm going to do my at-home study, and RCIA. I'm sure they'll agree with that. And it was like, yeah, you don't get it. It's coming alongside other people. That's the journey. We do it together. Even though someone might know more than you, or you might know more than them, but it's about the journey together, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, and at that point we had our second, who was a baby, who was a very challenging baby. So
Mm.
they were very kind to work with us, and Charlie and I traded off weeks going through
Mm.
RCA. And so anyway, we entered the church in 2009, and our kids were baptized soon after. So yeah, I got
Congratulations.
ultimately I got what I wanted, except a little bit more.
Well, so often it's so often the women who, sometimes women, well, I know Charlie had a strong faith in the Lord, but it's sometimes women are like kindling and men are more like big old oaks,
Mm,
logs. The women catch fire and they get it. And the guys go, no, no, no. But slowly that fire from the woman gets that log ignited. And then the log never, it does, it burns hot and solid and
yeah.
forever. So it's
That's
so,
exactly the right way to say it.
yeah.
Like when we started dating, he wasn't really going to church, but I was. In fact, I have an early story. I was going to an Anglican church at the time. And because, like I said, I was kind of drawn
Yeah,
to this
you were moving
liturgical
that direction.
experience.
Yeah.
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 So I was going to an Anglican church, and he had never experienced any sort of liturgical worship at all. And I took him with me to the Anglican church, and he had the craziest reaction.
Really? What was it?
Yeah, he hated it, and he was like he thought that rote prayers meant you didn't mean
Yeah, I
anything.
get that though. I get that. I used to think that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
And so, it was just so foreign to him, I think. And so that's when we
And
kind of,
weird and culturally a shock. Like, what are those
yeah.
people doing wearing those clothes? And I used to think, just to jump in here, I used to think rote prayers. You're supposed to sit down and meditate and talk with God in the morning. But I found out I kept trying to come up with new ways to say the same thing. So I was saying the same thing
Right?
anyway. I mean, we want that part of our prayer life,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the ordered prayers kind of are as we, I'm a pilot, it's the runway to rotation
Mm.
speed to get liftoff. You got to start with the liturgy of the hours, or you know what I mean. But people come in
Yeah.
and go, why is that guy still wearing robes? That's from medieval times.
Yeah. So we ended up settling, on a Bible church, which was fine. He was going to church. We were going to church together.
Hmm.
And so that was good. But once we also ran into this difficulty, like while Charlie was reading and we were, in this conflict about baptism, we were having trouble finding a church community once we moved away from DC.
Mm.
And we had tried every Protestant church within like a 30-minute drive. And there was one we were going to join, a Bible church, and they were going to make us be rebaptized. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
nope, we're not going to
False
do that.
teaching. False teaching.
I
Yeah.
pulled out the church council and I was like, hey, honey, we can't do this.
Well,
And he
also,
agreed.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say he agreed, except we felt like we were out of options. But I think that God had made us run through all of these places because at the last
Yeah.
resort said maybe we should go to a Catholic mass, and we were both like, should we go to a Catholic mass? And we did. So we ended up sitting in the back with our baby, in a carrier at the back row, totally
Always my favorite place to sit, by the way.
fish out of
I don't know
water.
why.
We didn't know what they were saying, what they were doing, what's this up down
What's
stuff.
all this calisthenics?
Yes. But at the same time, being very uncomfortable, not knowing what was going on, we still felt like we should go back. And
Did you
so,
did you sense there's something special about when you walk into a Catholic church and people just think it's the architecture or something? Did you sense the specialness? Did you sense at all the presence of the Eucharist? You're in the
no.
back row. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in the back of like nondescript in the round type of church. Like
But you
there's
didn't
nothing
sense that
impressive
peace.
about it.
You didn't sense
No.
that peace of the Holy of Jesus in there in the Eucharist, in the
No, I
tabernacle.
wouldn't say, no, not at that time, I wouldn't
Mm,
say, or at least I didn't. Maybe he did.
mm.
But I think what we felt was just drawn to return, even though we were
Ah,
uncomfortable.
see, isn't that
And
interesting?
even though we had no idea what was going on and we felt
Right.
we still hadn't made that conversion of heart, right? Like,
Hmm.
and ultimately it came down to the authority of the church. That was the ultimate question for us. And I know
Oh, wow. What a great question.
yeah, lots of other converts have said the same. At the end of the day, did Jesus establish this church? And
Yes.
do the bishops that he put in, or the apostles, actually have real power
And their
over
replacements. And their
right,
replacements.
exactly. And at the end of the day, our answer was yes. And so
Wow.
even though there were a lot of reservations about some Catholic theology, especially the things that really get to Protestants, like the Marian stuff and, the Eucharist being the real body and blood, all those things we still felt very uncomfortable with. But at the end of the day, we felt compelled to to order ourselves to God into his church and figure out the rest later,
Yeah,
you know?
I used to say that we got to take a break, but I used to say that I didn't understand Mary forever.
Mhm.
But I was always protective of her, like I would be of my sisters. I've said someone said something bad about her, but I would say
Mhm.
I have her on a bookshelf right here, and someday God, you'll explain this to me, maybe. And then of course he did. We're talking to Carolyn McKinney, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk. She has some special insights for us there. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick adventure. Go to schoolofmanliness.com and subscribe to our weekly email to receive video YouTube links of the Bear Woznick radio show, as well as the Spirit of Adventure with Bear and Cindy TV show, which, by the way, is filmed in the tropics, as well as our manly evangelistic YouTube shorts. Go to schoolofmanliness.com. People love our EWTN TV show, Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick. Thanks to you, the show has won 4 different Tally Awards. And now, instead of waiting each week for the next episode to air, you can actually binge watch our show and even share it with your friends when you go to deepadventure.com and join the Mama Bears or the Man Cave. Along with all the other benefits, you get total access to all the seasons of our aired episodes, plus instant access to episodes that won't even air for several months. Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick, a great way to communicate the gospel in a gritty enough way that even tough men will stop and watch at deepadventure.com.
Be the kind of man that when he gets out of bed in the morning, the devil says, "Oh no, he's up." Go to deepadventure.com and invite Bear to speak.
Aloha, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. I want to invite everybody to go to Amazon.com or EWTN Catalog or School of Manliness or any bookstore and get some of my books. I have 3 books published with Sophia Institute. There's a Surfing Guide to the Soul, which is such a cool book. It uses the 4 different seasons of the different swell directions of a surfer to kind of outline. Basically, it's autobiography, but it's Carmelite spirituality. And then there's the Deep Adventure, the Way of Heroic Virtue, how to get traction in the 7 virtues. And the newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone, which my wife had me listen. I think it was to Paula Cole or Sarah Cole singing Where Have All the Cowboys Gone, and she's always so instrumental in my books. I really dig that book. It went as high as number 5 in Christian books for men. It's still doing really well. And so 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? So we invite you to go order these books. We always ask the mama bears to get them for the men because sometimes the men don't buy books. But men, get the book 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? It's 12 rules that you can read with your son. Can you imagine that once a week sitting down with your sons? And it's not a bad idea to read it with your daughters too, because then they'll know what they're looking for in a man. We have with us today Carolyn McKinney, who just happens to be the wife of Charlie McKinney, one of my favorite people. A man has always believed in me and helped me through my writing career. Carolyn, so this thing about baptism. Oh, you need to get rebaptized. Just to talk about that. It's so interesting that the Catholic Church says if you want to join the Catholic Church, and you've already been baptized in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, we will not rebaptize you. It's like
Correct.
you don't do that. My wife, when she entered the church, we weren't certain if it was a Trinitarian baptism or not, so she had a baptism just in case. But I think that's so respectful and dignity, and gives so much dignity to all of our kind of like, our brothers and sisters that aren't participating fully in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
That it gives such dignity to them, and that we can embrace and love all of them. But we get so much angst towards the Catholic Church, and usually it's because they think we believe something we don't believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think it shows, it's a witness that they don't recognize, but it's a witness that shows them that we believe that they are members of the body of Christ, right? Like, if we thought that they were outside of the body, we wouldn't recognize their baptism. So, but actually Charlie had the same experience. I was able to prove my baptism, and he couldn't get any paperwork for his, so they did a provisional for him as
Oh,
well.
yeah, provisional. Yeah, it's so beautiful. And then, did the babies ever get baptized?
They did. Yep. Yep. And the longer we've been Catholic, the more we've trended towards the tradition. And my baby number five was baptized on the eighth day, and
Wow. Oh,
I,
yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
well, actually, it ended up being a little less than the eighth day because he was late. So he
So,
almost
so
missed his own baptism.
it's so beautiful. I have a friend of mine, Bubba Hicks. He still holds the record at Baylor University, Southern Baptist University, for the longest field goal. And we played football together in high school, and we're still great friends. He's president of a bank. He's a pretty smart dude. He's married a Catholic. She goes to Catholic mass, and he's Southern Baptist Sunday school teacher. But he finds himself always defending the Catholic faith because, like, he just read through the Didache, studying baptism. So it's like he so often says, you say this, but this isn't what Catholics believe, or this is why they believe it. So I just really respect his humility and his dignity too. While holding to
Yeah.
what he believes is true, he's able to embrace the Catholic faith. So now, can I jump ahead now to we want to talk about Charlie. I started off talking about the word emua, strength moving forward, and you wrote a couple of articles for it's the Catholic Exchange.
CatholicExchange.com. Yep.
Yeah, and I just immediately jumped on it. I didn't see your name. I just saw the title, and then wait a minute, I bet that's Charlie's wife. So tell us about what the heart of your articles are
Yeah.
telling us.
So the title was on Catholic Exchange was what I hope my sons will learn from the life of Charlie Kirk. And this and the other article on crisismagazine.com, which is titled Liberalism Died with Charlie Kirk. They were kind of my ways of,
You wrote that. That was the title you gave it.
yes,
That's a
liberalism.
gnarly title.
Yeah, thanks.
Liberalism died. Oh my gosh. Awesome.
I'm a straightforward kind of gal. I'm a straight shooter. But this pair of articles was really me kind of working out my feelings after the assassination, and just really trying to understand what has happened. And also, I wanted to make sure that my sons were taking away the right things from this situation. Like, in the wake of the assassination, I think I'm not the only one that was fearful that there would be some sort of vengeance, retribution type of reaction from the right, especially from young men who were so fond of Charlie. And so I was really focused on that reaction, and wanting to make sure that the men recognize the good about Charlie, and not just embraced anger that would not honor his memory.
Isn't it interesting how dramatically absent that sort of thing was? That there was so much love and mercy and forgiveness and
Yes,
presence of
it
the
it
Holy
was
Spirit.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that here in my town, we've lived in this town for almost 20 years. There's never been an organized prayer anything in the village center. And there was, the week after Charlie died, some Christians in town organized a get together for us to just come together and pray. And that had never happened before. And, I see people on X who are going back to church. They haven't been to church in their lives, or they haven't been to church in 10 or 20 years. And,
Yes.
they're seeking God.
And you saw
And
Elon Musk next to President Trump, the reconciliation taking place, and
yeah,
so many and others who may never have. It was just so powerful in that memorial. I'm interrupting you, but it was just so powerful to see the witness of that memorial
yeah. But I think
touch
I
people.
think the
Yeah.
biggest witness, honestly, was Erica Kirk and her strength
Oh, d-
in forgiving her husband's
yes.
killer. Like, I had hoped that that would happen, right after he was killed, and I can't imagine the amount of strength, the spiritual strength that took to actually do that. And but that was like the most powerful witness I could think of.
Yes. And so,
There's so
yes.
much vengeance and like, seeking out retribution in our culture, that like, what other opportunities are there for such a public display of forgiveness, for an act that is so heinous. So, she was given an opportunity, and she embraced it in the spirit, and like, that's just
Hmm.
incredible. And, her witness is just as important as, his own witness before he died and in his death.
Hmm.
So the things about Charlie that I highlighted to my children, or in this article, were really his strengths, his virtues, really. The fact that he put his family, well, God was first, but his family and it was so high up there. He had such beautiful words for his wife and his kids all the time. He admired, this family that he had. He and Erica would tell young people to get married young and have as many kids as they can. And, there's just this incredible
More than you can afford.
cultural moment.
More
Yeah,
than you can
right.
afford, and then
Exactly.
and then God makes a way.
He does. He does.
Yep.
And so that was huge. And that was, I think his biggest kind of cultural contribution was this turning of young men, especially. You can even see it in the polling prior to the election, where they polled Gen Z men, Gen Z women, and Gen Z men family was like way above career aspirations. That was not the case for women,
Thank you.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
This
Thank you, Lord. Though.
huge divide
Oh,
between them.
yeah. Wow.
But yes, it's people like Charlie speaking the way that they have been speaking about family that's, I think, really starting to turn around the culture, starting with men, right? But
Well,
also,
we have to take a break
yeah.
right now,
Oh
Carolyn.
yeah.
Carolyn, we're talking with Carolyn McKinney. How can they find you, Carolyn?
Yeah, I'm writer at catholicexchange.com and crisismagazine.com.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we'll be back talk with more Carolyn McKinney about the life and the impact of Charlie Kirk. This is the Bear Woznick Adventure. That's it. Deep Adventure Ministries is grateful to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting the Bear Woznick Adventure on EWTN. Notre Dame Federal Credit Union provides car loans, mortgages, SBA loans, and depository accounts nationwide, as well as 24-hour support. Go to deepadventure.com to find their link, or go to NotreDameFCU.com. Mahalo to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for making the Bear Woznick Adventure possible. Here is a YouTube video short, which is based on an excerpt from my newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? Where have all the cowboys gone? Where did we go off the rails? The pill, sexual permissiveness, pornography, the sweep right, sweep left, instant gratification culture with no responsibility allows boys to never become men. Boys that are old enough to be men instead seek pleasure, and they escape to gaming and drinking and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They're just man boys. At best, they're only nice guys. They are far from being good men. It is only when a boy faces adversity and accepts responsibility for himself and for others that a boy grows to be a man.
Still listening? I thought we warned you to change to an easy listening station. Well, you asked for it. Here is more of the Bear Woznick Adventure.
Aloha, welcome back to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Do you know that our TV series, Long Ride Home, the motorcycle TV series that airs on EWTN from time to time, you can actually watch the whole 33 episodes where we ride across the United States and across Hawaii, all on Prime Video. So Mama Bears, it's been known to happen where the brother or brother-in-law is coming over and the Mama Bear puts on Long Ride Home, and suddenly the man gets hooked on watching the show, thinking it's a biker show, and finds out it's about Jesus and the Catholic Church. I always think of my friend Trace Big Guns, Chamberlain, who's a member of the Man Cave, and oh man, it ruined his life because he started watching the show, and then his wife and he went to the Catholic Church, and then they're going to enter the Catholic Church. They had to abstain for a while because of things with, getting things all ready to go, and they were grit and grace. And the Lord spoke to him once in a vision, really, after he watched the show. The Lord spoke to him, "Come to me, Didymus." He didn't even know. He had no idea who Didymus was, and he had to ask people. And finally, somehow he found out it was the other one of the two men that were the two convicts that were on the cross next to Jesus, the one who said, "Remember me," and or reached out to Jesus. And we're all Didymus. We all none of us are worthy. In fact, coming to the Lord is a come as you are party. But Mama Bears, get the men in your family to watch Long Ride Home with Bear. You got to do the with Bear Woznick, Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick on Prime Video, because there's a lot of, I guess, long ride homes out there. So, but we're counting on you, Mama Bears. We're doing our best to give you the arrows for your quiver, but we're counting on you to launch those. We're talking to Carolyn McKinney, who wrote some articles on Charlie Kirk. And isn't it interesting, Carolyn? Young men. In fact, the book I'm going to write for your husband, I got two, and then the next third one is just going to be called Young Men. Young men are looking for discipline and order. You talked about how you ordered yourself to the faith in the Catholic Church as you joined it. Talk to us about that, the impact. Because how many sons do you have?
4.
And so if one of the articles was what you want to tell your sons about Charlie. What is God saying
most
to
of my sons are
young
Gen Z, teenagers at this point. My oldest is 20. My youngest is 8, so he's not quite Gen Z, but I have 3 teenage boys, or 20, 18, and 16. And, they knew of Charlie, and they were aware of the assassination because it was all over social media. And so I just wanted to highlight for them the things that made Charlie great. He's been derided on the left so badly, and
just lied about.
Yes,
and they know they're lying.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think there are some people that don't actually know that they're lying. I think
that could be true.
I think they've been manipulated because they've seen a bunch of edits, video edits that have been done in a very manipulative way, and so they come to think something that isn't true because they have just been fed something, a partial truth.
It's kind of like what do the Southern Baptists do? They do text proofing. Take a scripture out of context.
It's true. Yeah, it's basically that. And so I think a lot of people are just ignorant and trusting of their tribe, thinking their tribe isn't lying to them when in fact they are. But really, I just wanted my boys to understand what made Charlie great. And so, his focus on family was one that we already discussed, but also, like, number 2 was just his courage, right? Like, he had been doing this for a long time. For many years, these presenters on the right, Charlie, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, they've all been getting death threats for years, and so, but he continued to go into the fire, even though there was a threat to him in his life. he had the courage to keep doing what is right and to keep carrying out his mission because he knew that he was doing God's work and
Yes.
evangelizing the young and telling them the truth. That's the big thing is that there's no my truth or your truth. There's
It's
the truth.
truth. Yes.
Exactly. And he would articulate truth.
And he was
And
so open to having dialogue with people.
yes,
But
exactly.
it's going back to that word, Carolyn, emua, the Hawaiian word, strength, moving forward. He just didn't have an opinion sitting
Yeah,
on the couch yelling at the news.
right.
He moved out we have coffee shop ministry.
Mhm.
Cindy and I sit down and have coffee, and and things happen. We just sitting
Mhm.
down at the table here by the beach, and in your day to day life is what I'm saying. Emua,
Yeah.
just move out a little bit and reach out to people and watch how the Lord opens their hearts, opens
Yeah.
doors for.
Get off the keyboard and and outside of the
What?
screen.
What?
Believe it
Yeah,
or not.
in the normal day to day of your life, just be a Christian.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
hide that you're a Christian, and it's just beautiful to see what happens. It's just
Yeah.
Cindy dubbed it the coffee shop ministry because we go for coffee twice a day, and really feel bad for if you sit next to us. Well, we've got a few more minutes. Tell us some more of the significant thoughts for your
Yeah,
sons.
I one of the other thing, beyond family, beyond courage, I think the one of the biggest contributions they had was just treating everybody around him with charity. There were people who would come to that
Mm-hmm.
microphone
Mm-hmm.
on these campuses and just
Mm.
spew hate at him or call him names or attack him in often vicious ways. And he never yelled back. He never got angry. He never, or that I saw, I should say. He treated them with respect, no matter how much he disagreed with what they were saying.
Yes.
And, this is all out of charity. And, you know,
Mm.
the more we can embrace charity, the more effective we can be in, ministering to others as Christians, because the rest of the world doesn't have charity. The rest of the world is selfish and
But
self-centered and indulgent. And, charity is the
mm.
opposite of all of those things. And that sets us apart.
Well, charity is an interesting word. I used to think, why doesn't the Catholic churches use the word love?
Hmm.
But it's so cool because caritas, charity, is a giving.
Mm.
It's not, I love you so much I feel warm and gushy.
Yeah.
It actually means I love you enough to will the true good for you in self-donation.
Hmm.
Caritas. And the other thing that Charlie did is that we need to do is when people attack like that,
Hmm.
look past their fault and you see their brokenness and you see the need within them. So often he would break through, he would talk a little bit about the surface thing, but then he'd have
Hmm.
a moment of breaking through into seeing the need and
Yes.
speak to the hurt that person had gone through because they don't get like that without a lot of pain first.
It's true. Yeah. And, he would often point out, what does your family situation look like?
Yes.
How was your mother and father? Or,
Yes.
do you have any abuse in your, he would ask those kinds of
Yes.
questions because often
Yeah.
that's a huge root of, of
So
pain for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. You're doing such a good job articulating this. Look past. It's not. You can persuade people at the mental level, and that's good. But
Mm.
God always. It's the redemption comes at the heart level, and
Mm.
to look past it. Oh my gosh, one of my sons, Shane, his whole life has been so good at seeing the heart of people. He's a
Mm.
videographer. That's why he captures magic moments because he sees things we don't see. We're talking with Carolyn McKinney, and how can people reach you, Carolyn?
Yeah, I'm a writer at CatholicExchange.com and CrisisMagazine.com. They can find me
I,
there.
I want to give you one more minute just to say to the young men that are listening how you would encourage them, or what you would tell them would be a couple good steps they could take.
Yeah, I think really, and one thing that I mentioned in the article is, Jordan Peterson. I know a lot of young men probably know who he is and have heard him before. But he talks about making your own bed. And
Mm,
really, it's about ordering your own life first, right? You
mm,
you start with what you can have an impact on, and then you can move out from there. But the most important thing is to order everything within your radius, right? And it is about order. Like the devil loves chaos. God is a God of order, right? We need to order ourselves, and then our families, and then our communities, and then our states, and then America will follow eventually. But
Wow.
it's about ordering.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's just such a powerful, powerful statement for young men. Order your life. Start with those things. Like first thing in the morning, make your bed. Actually, first thing in the morning, drop on the knee and say, "Servium, I will serve."
Mm.
And then make your bed. And I mean, it's. I know it seems like a little thing, but it's bringing bringing order out of chaos and
Yes.
and order in your life. And God is a God of order. And every in our life path is just a bunch of little decisions mostly.
Mm.
Make a good decision. And my mom used to always say, if you've got a choice to do this or do that, you're not sure which to take the harder road.
Yeah.
And
And
usually
especially
you'll
for
find,
men
yeah.
respond so well to discipline, honestly. Like,
Hmm.
and they thrive in situations where there is discipline and there is
Hmm.
order. And so many young men and women don't actually know what that means, right? They've never been in an ordered home, they've never been in ordered relationships or, in an ordered community, and so they don't have a vision
So
of that.
do that. Get up, go
Yeah.
to bed at the same time every day. Get up a half hour earlier than you need to pray. And young men, there's a scripture verse for you I'm going to give to you right now. There's angel appeared to Joseph and said, "Don't be afraid to take Mary to you as your wife." Young men, don't be afraid to take a wife. We've been talking with Carolyn McKinney. Thank you so much for our time together, Carolyn. It was great. I hope I get to have you on our show again. Very, very beautiful witness and with such clarity what you shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bear. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Until next week, get ready. You got to close your ears because I'm going to talk loud for a second. Until next week, may the breath of the Holy Spirit aloha you. Aloha.
Thanks for listening to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Find more manly conversation at the Bear Woznick Deep Adventure YouTube channel. Subscribe and ring the bell.